Okay, so this first thing is that this is the class. The name of the class is student. I'm going to create the class student. What I did actually, I just created a solution called final exercise 1, and the default class that was created with the main, I renamed it to test student because I would like to have some test student at other point of time. And I have this student, and this is the class student that I'm going to be editing now in order to just put these things over here. Actually, you can see that I'm going to maybe copy this and put it here. I can adapt it from wherever I need. And basically, I'm going to make everything private because that's the standard way to do it. And you see, it tells me that there's something variable student ID is not initialized in the default constructor because I don't have any constructor, and then I'm not setting up anything into this student ID. Final, remember what final means?
Yes, fixed, like
constant. That means once I put a value inside of it, the value will never change. So, but I did not put any value yet. I'm going to put a value where? Here in the constructor. As you can see in the constructor, I'm going to put those values there. Yeah. Yes.
The value can be changed?
Cannot be changed if it's final. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create those constructors, and the first one is the one that takes those 3 arguments. And what I'm going to do is put this dot student ID equal to student ID, and then this dot name is equal to name, and this dot score. Well, I don't have something called score. I don't have something score, right? But I have total score. So what should happen is that total score is going to have the score. Now I'm going to copy this because the others seems to be close to that one. Let me see the other one, which is the ID student, the score first and then the name second. So it's just the order is different. So I'm going to change the order of, let me do it this way, maybe it's going to cut this and paste it here, and nothing is changed there. And the last one is the one that has only the name without the score. So I'm going just to copy this one again and paste it here. And then I'm going to remove the score because I don't want to have that score there. However, what should be the total in that case? 0. Yes.
First and the second, what about the number of quizzes?
Well, that's a good point. Yes, exactly. So now the number of quizzes, like this total score, what did I put? 0. If I didn't put anything, what would be the value of it? It would be 0 because by default, the doubles or ints are going to have zeros. So, but I chose to put 0 because it's a good practice to always put your own initial values. Don't rely on the Java's default initial values. So on this one was never used, so I'm going to be doing this total, that's number of quizzes. Well, what is the default value for the number of quizzes here?
0.
You think? I have only one score. Is it going to be 0? I have already one score. That means there's only at least one quiz. So I have one quiz because of this score there. So it's not going to be 0. But here I have no score, so it's going to be 0. Yes.
I made this total score equals score. Show me
Well, I'm going to check your code. You see, it doesn't show me error here, right? So maybe there's some small thing in your code. Just remind me, and then I'm going to check your code later. Yes.
About total score equals 0.
Yes.
Should be right 0.
Okay, that's a good point. Total score is double. If I put 0, this is int. Int inside of a double, is it okay?
Yes.
So it's okay. If you put this or that, the same thing. Yeah. Okay, up to now, we're finished all this very quickly. Yes?
No, I'm just telling the problem because I have the same problem. Just put double score instead of double total score in the parentheses.
Well, okay, anyways, let's talk about it. Let's sort that later. Now I have this public int get id, which is normally this is like a getter of the ID. So public int get ID, which should do what? Return student ID. Yes, because I don't have ID, but I have student ID. So this one is done. Now this one, public string get name, I'm going to return the name, and that's easy. Public double get average, and this one is going to be doing something, because it says in this one this should return 0 if no quiz has been taken, and it should return the average if there's a quiz. So what should I do? If
Number of quizzes.
number, how did I number of quizzes, if it's equal to 0, return 0. Else return, what is average?
Total score over number.
So the average is actually the total score divided by the number of quizzes, and that's the average. I didn't ask you to declare something here called average, so you have to respect the design of the class.
I declare it above.
You shouldn't.
That's error. And public string to string.
I'm going to address that when we ask you to create all this class with these fields. Most of the time, 99%, you don't have to add anything. You should not add anything, except maybe if something was forgotten and it's absolutely necessary to add something. But if this is not necessary, I can deal with it without adding anything, then I will respect the structure. And I will show you how I can deal with the fact that I'm getting the average without having a variable that has that average. Why? Because actually I have the total score and I have the number of quizzes. Every time I need the average, just divide this by this. I don't need to store it in any extra information, because I can get it but just calculate it very easily. So now I finished with this get average. The other one is get total score. Well, this seems to be very easy, right? Get total score. How to get the total score? Well, just return total score. And the other one, public void add quiz. Okay, so that's nice, because this one is going to add a quiz. What should happen when I add a quiz? This. Hello. Total score. Total score plus equal score. That's nice. You have a value score. You have to add it to the total of the scores. That's it. Yes. No. No, you have a score. In this variable total score, I'm just saving all the scores all together, like the sum of all the scores. And then, well, I need to do something else here. I added a score. Is the number of quizzes the same now? The number of quizzes should be incremented, because I have one more quiz now that was added. So when I calculate the average, it's going to calculate the accurate average. Because if I don't do this, then if I calculate the average, I'm just dividing by 1. While now I'm adding another score, I should divide by 2. So it's very important to keep in mind when I'm adding something, just to update all what is needed to be updated. So the first thing is to understand that this score needs to be added to the total score. The second thing is I need to increment the number of quizzes, because I just added 1. And this is the add quiz. The print student, this should print the student's ID, name, and average score. Maybe this is what you were talking about. This is going to be just printing something. We would like to, this should print the student. So let's print it by going to, what is it? System.out print line. I would like to print the ID. Where did I go? Okay. would like to print the ID, name, and average. So the ID is very easy. Student ID.
Plus ID.
Exactly. I'm just on plus. Well, it's called student ID. And then I'm going to paste again student name. And then I have name. And the last one was average. I don't have a variable called average. How can I get the average? Yes, I can do this total score over the number of quizzes, but what happens if the number of quizzes is 0? If the number of quizzes is 0, it should be 0, and it should not be dividing this by 0. Then dividing something by 0 is not acceptable.
Should we add the condition?
No, I just need to do something like this that I'm already doing. I have get average. Get average will give me a result. This is a number, right? What is the result of this? Is that it's going to be either 0 if the number of quizzes are 0, or this if it's different from 0. So I'm just calling this method from another method, which is possible. I needed the average. I have something that calculates the average, which is this get average here. So why should I need an extra variable to that? So this is going to calculate the average. Either it's going to be 0 because there are no quizzes, or some number because there are quizzes. And this value I'm going to display it on the screen. And that does what I want. The last one is a toString. And this toString, what does it do? Did we tell you what to do with that toString? No. So you can display whatever you want. And you know what? I'm going to do something just for the fun of doing it, just to make something interesting, not to always do the same thing. I'm going to return, just for fun. Probably this is not exactly what was wanted, but no, this is not what I wanted. I want to do the opposite actually. I want to do this. Plus I don't know what happened. Okay, too quick. So I'm just going to do something like go back to the line and just a semicolon at the end here, so it's not going to be complaining. So notice what I have, what I'm doing in here. This toString is going to return this text that I'm going to display here.
String?
Yeah, why not?
Shortcutting. Clear.
This is going to display what's inside of this toString. What does toString have? Well, student ID, then student ID, and then go back to the line, student name, then the name, then go back to the line, average, then this is coming from get average. What happens if I take this and put it between, instead of this place, here? What is going to be the result? Same thing. Now what I'm doing, when I'm calling print student will need to go to toString to find out what is going to be displayed on the screen. And then toString, when I get inside of it, is going to prepare this as a string and then return it. So this is going to be equal to this.
So the toString method, it's a display what you...
It doesn't display, it returns. This one displays what toString returns. So this one displays, and this one just prepares the text. The string is prepared, this information, and then returns it. That means this is going to be a text. Same thing, I mean, this is better. You don't have to, because if I didn't do this, I would have to do something like this, for example. Or, you know, what's the difference between having this or this? I'm just trying to and then the last one. And just I need to remove this, so because what is the difference between this and the one before?
Can you do the opposite, doctor?
No, because it should be void, and I forced you, if you look here, I forced you to use void for print student. So this cannot be returning something, because I told you it should return nothing.
Doctor, what's the other option? We don't write. If we don't return.
What do you mean, this one?
Yes.
There's no other options for toString. toString, you have to return something, because we said that toString should return a string. But this one, it returns nothing, it just displays something. So what it displays, I either put it, what was it? Like this, myself, which looks the same, like this is just a copy and paste. Or I can do something which is more compact.
We don't need to switch it because the program will.
I just go and then I don't need to. So if, for example, I change my mind, instead of having this, I would like to display another way. For example, I just would like to have like, I don't know, student ID, and then student, maybe just do something like this, and then I have
ID name.
yeah, just with the space, for example. Now what I did, I just changed the way how it appears, so it will change in both places at the same time. While if I had copied and pasted, one of them can, I need to change them both if I want them to be changed both. But the advantage of the other method is that if I want to have different representations, these two strings should display this way, this print student should display another way, then the other one is better. So it depends on what you would like to do. In my case, I just would like to display it the same way, so I don't care. That's why it's convenient for me to have something like this. And it shows you that you can use a method inside of a method. So look what is happening here actually. If I'd like to print a student, and I'm going to take your question later, it's going to call toStudent. toString. toString cannot work until it gets getAverage first. So before we can finish and display something on the screen, I'm going to go from print student to toString, from toString to getAverage, and then I can display everything. So it's going to go into these different methods. And if you'd like to see it working, it might be funny to see it working. And let's now test it. Now I finished the class. Yeah, I'm going just to test it. Student1 equal new student. And I'm waiting for this to help me. Which constructor you'd like to use? Whatever. Let's say this one. Student ID 123 and the name test, whatever, and the score 5.5. Now if I put s1.print student, if I run this, of course it's going to be 5.5. 1, 2, 3 test, and average 5.5. However, if I'd like to see how this is happening, I'm going to, let's say, okay, click here. I'm going to click here, and then I run this with the debug. Running this with the debug, it will take me, I'm about to execute this one. I would like to get inside this method, so I'm going to step into this method print student. So it's going to go now in student, I'm going to print student, and it will try to run this line. However, to run this line, it will need to go inside toString. So I'm going to, it tells me which one you would like to go to, and I don't want to go to this one. I would like to go to the toString. And I'm clicking inside. Now I'm getting inside of toString, and it's going to be now doing this. But I need to get inside again because toString needs to go inside of getAverage, and the getAverage is going to find out what to return. Now it is going to return something. So what I did actually, in order for me to execute this method over here, print student, I had to go to toString, and toString had to send me to getAverage before I can get all the information. So now I'm back. I have getAverage and know what this getAverage is going to give me, and then I can go back now to print something on the screen. Now I'm done. So this is what happened on the different steps. What was your question?
When we delete the print student method.
When we delete?
Yeah. For example, when we delete it, is it will show on the screen?
The toString? No.
toString.
No. toString doesn't show anything on the screen because it just returns a text.
Okay.
So if you'd like to use toString, for example, here you're going to use something like this, and then S1. Now you're going to use toString. So this is going to give you the same result, but now you didn't call print student. You just went straight to toString, and toString went to get average, and then
You missed one, so that's meaning you missed the one Wednesday.
exactly you jumped this print student. Yes. So, and I can test this by add quiz. If I add quiz, let's say now 10. Now this should be like 10 plus 15.5 should be 15.5. Sorry, 10 plus 5.5. That's 15.5 divided by 2. Let's have like some easy numbers. 6 and divided by 16 divided by 2. That's 8. So I should see that the average should be 8. I'm putting some values to test to make sure that it's going to give me the result I'm expecting it to give me.
You are dividing it by 2.
Yes, because the first time I added only 1. Now I added another quiz. Yarhamukallah. So when I added another quiz, now there are 2 quizzes. I need to be divided by 2. First one is 6, the other one 10. Okay. Well, the rest of this is you have to the test for read the student name. It then creates a student object. It then prompts for and read the scores of the student in 3 quizzes. Let's do something like this, for example. If we'd like to get something that works like this, if we'd like to do something that looks like this, so what would be the output? I mean, that we need to be doing. Well, there's something tricky. I just realized there's something that is not right in the way this is represented, and probably you did not realize it. Did you? Okay, let me show it to you.
Number of quizzes and the average.
We'd like to get the user to give us those numbers, those things, right? Enter name of student. Okay, so let's do something like that. No, this is not what we want. We'd like to have. I think it's a bit hot in here. Can we? Yeah. So we'd like to get the values from the keyboard. So we should use the scanner, right? Remember scanner, and let's use the control space so I can have the. Include the import that is added automatically. Scanner, skkb equal new scanner system.in. Now I'm going to semicolon. I'm going to create. Unfortunately, I don't have this constructor that takes nothing. I will always take something, right? So I need to, for example, do something like this. However, the name I'm going to ask the user to give me the name. So, but enter name of students. I'm going to do something like this, and the result of this, I'm going to instead of I'm going print line, instead of having this test over here, what should I do?
The name.
Well, the name is going to be given to me by the user. So I need to use the scanner, which is the kb dot next.
Oh, you want to enter?
Well, I'm going to use next line, not just next, because next line is going to read the whole line. As you can see, there's space here. If I use only next, it's going to take only this word. Yes. So now I took this, and I think I was wrong. I was saying that there's something wrong with this, but there's nothing wrong with this. Now, enter. So this is his ID. So let's have ID. I just added this ID from somewhere. That's the mistake. And then if you see this, I'm not asking the user to give me the ID. So I'm putting the ID myself. I should have asked the user to give me the ID. And now I have declared this. I need to add. Did you notice this? that's the place that should have been the name. And now the name is coming from the keyboard. Okay, it's from the user's input. Now I need to do something else. Enter grade of quiz 1 for Ahmed. How can I display something like this? I should display system.out and then enter name for. However, this should not come from here. This thing over here should be coming from the student dot not KB, because he entered it the first time. I just need now to get back the name. This student entered this, so it's already stored in S1. For me, I called it S1. I can call it whatever I want. That's anyway. This is S1, or so, and maybe just remove this S1. Put it just S. So I can get the name, and then I don't have to ask the user to type it again because it will be useless. So I have enter grade for quiz 1 for get name, and then what should I do? But first of all, I need to get this and save it somewhere. So I need to ask the user to give me the input. So this is kb.next int. But what do I do with this next int? I need to save it somewhere. What should I do with it?
Add quiz.
Very good. So s dot add quiz. I'm going to add a quiz, and the value is going to come from the user. Okay. Well, for some it's okay. For others it's not okay, but it's fine, isn't it, Nasser? Yeah. It's more than fine. Then for quiz 2, quiz 3, just the same thing, right? I'm going to ask you to give me this and put it there. But I'm a programmer. I can say that this is a loop. Why do it this way when I can do it better with a for? For I equal to, let's say, 0. Well, let's start from 1 just not to get. And then it's because I want to see 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'll make it 1 to 4 and less than stricter than 4. And instead of repeating this copy and paste, I'm going just to put it there. And instead of 1, this should be I. Exactly, I'm not capital I, lowercase I. So I'm missing something.
We have plus function.
Okay. So now, is after the quiz number, I'm going to put the I, and then I is going to become 1, 2, and 3, and then when I becomes 4, I get out, and then I don't need this anymore. And now the last thing is ID, name, quiz average. So this is something that maybe I would like to see in the toString, or the print student, whatever. For example, I can have the toString give me this, and the print the other one. So this is the advantage of having like different text, because I would like to have different information displayed, for example, just to show something different. So student ID here plus name, and then the name plus, and this was there's a comma and then quiz average, comma and then quiz average, and this is going to be okay, column and then plus get average. I'm just going to split it into two so I can see everything in one place. And now I'm going to call this s.print student, and this should print something that looks like that. Let's test it and see if it's going to give me the same result. Let's run. Enter name of student, that's fine. So I'm going to copy and paste. Enter. Enter grade quiz 1 for Ahmed. So it was 20. And then 17. 19. And then you can see that's almost the same. I have just 67, which is not exactly what I'm having. I have a lot of numbers. I can do that with some formatting, but I don't want to get into that detail for now. And if I'd like to have like this line separate, I can just put a new line. It's not a big deal. So you got the point. How I can just, if I'd like to have a space, for example, here, it's better to have this space here. I need to, can improve this based on space here. Yes.
So how do we convert the form? The test class.
What do you mean convert the for?
Just to get the three steps. The number of quizzes 1, the number of quizzes 2, the number of quizzes.
If you notice, the I starts with 1, right? It will become 1. With 1, it's going to get in. With 2, get in. 3, get in. If you have noticed the I, where does the I appear? Only here.
This is a condition.
But this is a condition that makes, well, I'm going to repeat until this condition becomes false.
It's a false one. Yeah, I mean the condition. But I is smaller than 4.
Yes.
So that's we made the 3 terms.
Yes. That's why we have 3.
That's better than just make
Copy and paste.
3 entities.
That's more. It seems more professional, because you know how it is. If you can solve it with just copy and paste. That's no problem. But if I ask you to do that with 10 numbers, then it's going to be difficult to do it copy and paste. While, I mean, not that difficult. If it's 10, still you can handle it. But 100, let's say. 100, it's better to have something like a loop, and then you can do it with the loop.
Try to.
Yeah. With 100? I don't want to type 100 numbers. Okay?